Today, we're going to be creating posters to celebrate the teachers at the Academy of Urban Planning, much like the one that you're looking at right now. We're going to explore two major ideas in this project. The first is the rule of thirds, and the second is color scheme. So you're probably wondering, Mr. Droz, why did you choose green and blue and a little bit of orange for this project? We're going to talk about that in just a moment. First, let's explore this idea of color schemes. So color schemes are the sort of combination of colors that designers use when they're creating an image, and we can see that IKEA uses this orangey, yellow, and blue, as does Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, as do the New York Knicks. Also, we see that in lots of places. So, in fact, this orange-blue contrast is so popular that once you see it once, you're going to see it everywhere. And here are a few examples from popular media that include this orange-blue contrast. Now, where do we get color schemes? How does it work? This is colorschemedesigner.com, and it's one of my favorite websites. You can look at the top and you can see a number of options. And if you look at complement, what it does is if you select a color like this blue, it's going to select its complement on the diametrically opposite side of this color wheel. So we can now see where the Kraft Macaroni and Cheese and IKEA and Knicks decided to derive their color scheme. But what's cool about this website is that we're not limited to just complementary colors, but we've got triad, tetrad, along with a few others that I'm not even really quite sure how to pronounce. And the fun thing about this, and I like using the tetrad, is that you can sort of orbit around this color wheel and you can see the colors change in real time, so they react dynamically to what you select. I love this website. You're gonna really experiment with this with Color Scheme Designer to create your own posters celebrating your favorite teacher or teachers that had some positive influence on you. So how do we make this project? What are the sort of foundations or components necessary to create it? So I'm going to share with you this rubric, and it's going to break down precisely what you need. My recommendation is that once you find a color scheme that you really like, and let's say hypothetically I like this one. You're going to be finding lots of color schemes that you like, and when you're happy with one, you're going to want to sort of create a copy of it, and to do that, you're going to select print screen. You're going to press it on your keyboard, you're going to go to Photoshop, and when you get there, you're going to go to File, New, and you're going to press OK, and you're going to paste it in. I'm going to press C to crop, and I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to save this as Droz Color Scheme 1 as a JPEG. You're going to be returning to this color scheme later today, tomorrow, maybe a month from now. So you're going to want to find color schemes that you like. Once you got one that you do like, you're going to want to include it in lots of your posters. So once you identify a color scheme, you're ready to start photoshopping, and I'm going to recommend that you use the tetrad color scheme. It gives you a nice range as opposed to the triad or the complement. You're going to want to use tetrad. So here are mine, and you can see that I labeled them C1 through C4, and when we look at this visual rubric, we can see that the background very prominently featured is this green from the C1 box. I can see that C4 is the color of the AP logo. It's also the color of the stroke on my name, along with the box that includes my sort of teaching credentials. I know that when I look up here, I can see that we should include the teacher's subject area in sort of the top right-hand corner. The text is going to be C2, and the drop shadow is going to be C3 along with a white stroke. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute, but let's take a look at on this rubric a little bit more. I can see that we've got the layers palette on the side, which you can use as a reference. We've got desaturated images actually right on top of the green, and what you're going to want to do is find images that represent the teacher's interests or subject areas. So if it's earth science, you might want to include plate tectonics or sort of astronomy or fun things like that. If it's an English teacher, you might want to include Shakespeare or the author of a book that teacher's reading or studying. The portrait photo has a very important place in this image, and as I mentioned earlier, we're going to want to apply the rule of thirds. So the teacher's face ideally should be along the upper left-hand corner intersection of these two lines, and the teacher's name should fall right along this bottom horizontal line. That's sort of fundamental graphic design composition principles. Few other things, I can see that we're going to include the AP logo, the date, etc. Now I said a second ago that we're going to talk about how to create this. It's not difficult, provided you know what to do. So a second ago we created this color scheme. The very first step is to select the eyedropper tool, and now we're going to select the image in C1, the left hand corner box. Next, what we're going to do is use the paint bucket. You're going to fill the background. That's going to be our background layer. Next, I'm going to use the eyedropper tool again, and I'm going to select C2, and I can see just eyeballing it that the text is going to be pretty similar in color to the background. There's going to be not a whole lot of contrast, and already I can see that right here. So let's make this a little bit bigger. Tremendous. Next, we're going to add stroke. So I'm going to go to effects, I'm going to go to stroke, and instead of red, which would be kind of crazy, we're going to make it white, and I'm going to drop the pixel down to 1 or 2. We could try 2 and see what happens. We can always adjust it later. Next, I'm going to use the eyedropper tool one last time, and I'm going to select effects. We're going to do the drop shadow, and the default is black. I can see that right here. What we're going to do now is we're going to change it to C3, the third box, and change the blending mode from multiply to normal. That's really critical. I'm going to enhance the opacity to 100% and change the spread just a little bit, and maybe increase the size, mostly the spread. And now I can see that when we zoom in, we've got a technique that looks kind of similar to what we created in that original document right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely excited about seeing what you're going to produce. Remember to come up with an amazing color scheme. Remember to apply the rule of thirds and try to stay as close as possible to this visual rubric I've provided. If you have any questions, let me know. Good luck.